This is Reviewer03, bringing you 5 quick reviews volume 3. Now with an extra portion dark humor. Why are my reviews so dark, you ask? Perhaps the darkness in my reviews is just a reflection of the darkness in my heart. Oh, I'm getting sober again. Where's my whiskey? Okay, so let's start with Starship Operators. This anime is set in a distant future, and the story revolves around the crew of the spaceship Amaterasu and their heroic resistance against the Henrietta alliance of planetary nations which occupied their homeworld. Now this anime was surprisingly good. It had very good animation for its time, impressive space battles, no goofy comedy scenes, and it wasn't afraid to deal with complex topics such as death, loss, fighting for a just cause, love, desperation, and so on. The soundtrack for this series was okay as well, same goes for the English dub. The only things I have to criticize in this anime is the absurd unrealism. The crew of the Amaterasu consists of mere space cadets, yet they somehow manage to defeat fleet admirals who have decades of combat experience despite being outnumbered 5-1. The only explanation I have for this would be that these guys drank all of my whiskey before going into battle. Fucking assholes. Overall, Starship Operators is a nice and entertaining show with a lot of action and romance, but unfortunately it's unrealistic, quite random from time to time, and it doesn't have the spark which would make it a top tier anime. So I'm giving this show a good 3.5 out of 5 points. Next on the list we have Now and Then, Here and There. Why the fuck am I seeing flying elephants everywhere? God, I really have to start drinking again. Okay, so this anime revolves around a guy called Shuzo Matsutani, who while protecting a mysterious girl named Lalaru, gets transported to a strange desert world ravaged by war. There he finds out that Lalaru is hunted by the crazy King Hondo because of her unique ability to produce vast amounts of water, which would give Hondo the ability to conquer the entire planet. The rest of the anime follows the adventures of Shu and his attempts to adapt to a world at war and his attempts to rescue Lalaru. Alright, this anime was just fantastic. It has pretty good animation for its time, amazing characters, and one of the best English dubs I've heard so far. Especially King Hondo's voice is much better in the English dub. Now and Then, Here and There is a fascinating anime dealing with very dark topics such as rape, war, and the survival of the fittest. On a side note, if you can't even rape a teenage girl without being killed by her, well, then I guess you weren't so high in the food chain after all. Another dark topic addressed by this anime is the policy of child stealing and child soldiers, similar to what the Turks did to Southern and Eastern Europe, where they kidnapped European children and brainwashed them so that they would fight and kill their own people. The strongest aspect of Now and Then, Here and There is undoubtedly its simplicity. It managed to deal with all these complex issues in a simple yet convincing way. Starting with episode 8, this series loses some of its steam, and this is the part where I begin my critique of the negative aspects. Episode 8 is a filler episode, and episodes 9 to 13 feel dragged out. Another negative aspect is that this anime won't give you any answers. You will never find out anything about the planet Shu is on, about Lalaru, why Abelia is so loyal to King Hondo, and so on. The last two things would be the opening, which is one of the cheapest openings I have seen so far, and the rushed ending. Basically the entire plot gets resolved in the last 10 minutes of the 13th episode, which is just too quick. So I'm giving this anime a very good 4.5 out of 5 points. The only reason it doesn't get a full score is because it loses some steam in the second half. Episode 8 and 9 feel like filler episodes, and the ending is far too rushed. Next we have Sankarea, also known as the anime where women cry if they don't manage to rape teenage boys. The story of this anime revolves around a guy called Chihiro Furuya who has a severe zombie fetish. One day after his cat gets killed in an accident, he tries to resurrect her through a magical potion. And then a lot of other stuff happens which I'm too lazy to talk about. Long story short, Chihiro ends up living with a zombie girl called Sankarea, which is pretty much heaven for him. And since Sankarea is a zombie, Chihiro has to kidnap young and busty virgins and feed them to her. Or perhaps I'm just fucking with you and Sankarea is a vegetarian zombie which eats leaves. I don't know, I haven't seen this anime. I'm just making shit up as I go. Anyway, Sankarea is a nice and entertaining romantic comedy. It has up-to-date animation, some very good music, especially the one playing in this scene, drama, comedy, and great characters, especially Chihiro's little sister Mero. Unfortunately, this show has the same problems as Now and Then, Here and There. It loses a lot of steam in the second half, and the ending is far too open. So I'm giving this anime a good 4 out of 5 points. Let's continue with Gunbuster, also known as the anime featuring the only thing I hate more than penguins: space communists. So, Gunbuster is set between the years 2023 and 14,292, and the story revolves around a young girl called Noriko and her heroic efforts to protect humanity from the flood from Halo. Now, this anime was dark, depressing, and fucking sad, since it revolved around a cornered and outnumbered humanity desperately fighting for its survival. Anyway, considering its age, this anime had a pretty good soundtrack, excellent space battles, drama, and lots of heroism. The animation was very original, especially the last episode, which was made entirely in black and white. The only thing I would criticize is once again the fact that such complex war machines are piloted by teenage girls and not adults, but since this is the case in almost every mecha anime, I will ignore this. So I'm giving Gunbuster a good 3.5 out of 5 points. The main reason for this are the first 2 episodes. The second half of Gunbuster is just fantastic, but these first 2 episodes start really slow, and present-day anime viewers will have problems to sit through them. Last we have Diebuster, which is technically a second season of Gunbuster, but which feels more like a separate show. That's the reason why I decided to review these 2 series separately. So, Diebuster is set 12,000 years after the original Gunbuster, in a future where diapers are considered fashion. And the story revolves around a young girl called Nono and her heroic efforts to protect humanity from the evil space monsters. So, the positive things about Diebuster are the animation and the soundtrack. Both of them are splendid, the action scenes are breathtaking, and Nono has one of the cutest Japanese voices I've ever heard. Besides her cute voice, I also have to mention that her character as a whole represents one of the sweetest and most likable characters I've ever seen. But don't let be deceived by her cuteness. If you try to rape her, she will bite you. And if she's really pissed off, she can slice through planets like bread, defeat planet-sized monsters which can absorb and manipulate black holes, and stop planet Earth which has been accelerated to near light speed. Thus, in her final form, Nono is able to stop an object with a kinetic energy of 70 septillion megatons, while at the same time being banked from behind by a planet-sized robot. God, this did sound so right. Thus, this girl could easily defeat Superman, but not Goku. The only negative aspect about Diebuster is its failure as a sequel. Some of the things in this series didn't make any sense if you have seen the original Gunbuster. So despite the fact that this was supposed to be a continuation of Gunbuster, this anime would have worked better as a standalone series. Because of this contradiction, I can't give it a full score. So this anime gets a very good 4.5 out of 5 points.